if the Russians are to cross over the Manjil Bridge to Anzali in an orderly way, not only will our people not stand in their way, but they will also help them cross over the bridge as usual.
C'est la Mirza passant histoire de la route de Manjil à Anzali.
Excuse me.
Je compris.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
En tant que représentant de Bishrakhov, commandant de l'armée russe, j'ai le devoir de vous demander si l'aide et les facilités que vous demandez sont uniquement destinées à l'armée russe ou l'armée anglaise aussi en bénéficiera.
As the representative of Bishrakov, the commander of the Russian army, bound by duty, he would like to know if these aids and facilities would only be specified to the Russian troops, or they'll be given to the English as well.
According to the agreement of the Treaty Article Number 9, crossing over the bridge for you was authorised 2 months ago. However, the decision about the Russian troops crossing the borderline is not within our authority. If there ever comes a time when this decision has to be made, the only committee that has the competency to make this decision is the Committee of Islamic Union Board.
The evacuation of our forces from Caucasia must not cause you any misunderstanding. We do not intend to interfere with your political beliefs. We do not intend to interfere in the internal affairs of Iran. Although, what I can assure you on behalf of the English forces is that they will not cause any harm to your men. In return, we expect to not face any type of trouble or disturbance on our way to Anzali port.
Nous sommes la dernière division de l'armée russe qui se trouve encore en Iran. Nous sommes contre la révolution rouge et les désordres qu'elle entraîne, et justement c'est pour cette raison que nous sommes restés en Iran, tandis que nos alliés et les adversaires des bolcheviks ont constitué une république indépendante.
They say we're the last group of the Russian forces in Iran, and the only reason that we're staying in Iran is because we're strictly against chaos and the Red Revolution. They say our fellow members and opponents of the Bolsheviks have established an independent Republican Party. But if we do not get to Baku in time, this Republican Party will be dispersed by the Bolsheviks. He says their Commander General Bishrakov expects Mr. Mirza Koochack Khan, the national leader of Gilan, that's united with the white revolutionists against the Bolsheviks, to allow the English forces to pass through Gilan. General Bishrakov has announced his gratitude for your agreement with this suggestion in advance.
Mr. Nicky Tin.
Yes?
According to the treaty that both your representatives and our representatives signed 2 months ago,
Yes.
the deal was to vacate all police stations from Russian forces and hand them over to our forces.
Yes?
So now why has your representative handed the headquarters over to the English army?
That treaty is still accurate, Koochack Khan. Those headquarters from Manjil to Anzali, not from Kazvin to Anzali, will be handed over to you.
Handing over the police stations we've put you in charge of in Iran to any foreign forces is absolutely out of the question, no matter who they are. Mr. Colonel Stocks?
Yes.
Entering Baku to help the Republic of Caucasia is not what you have in mind. Your military forces have bought the Kazvin Police Department from General Bishrakov by giving them gold coins so they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The first one is placing a chosen government mercenary in Caucasia in order to grant you full authority of the oil wells of Baku. The second one is evacuating this area from the noble men of the jungle so that the men who are under the protection of the English government in Tehran can cross over the territories of Gilan without any danger.
I thought you were a much more realistic man. You're judging us based on how the Bolsheviks think of us. I promise
We
you...
have no business with the Bolsheviks.
We know that with every boat that sets in Anzali, a large number of Bolsheviks get off as emigrants.
Right now, the telegraph station and the port are being managed by the Bolsheviks. We even know that your officers are being trained by the Germans. And the Ottoman government is sending you weapons.
These are all lies, false accusations and allegations. The noble arts men of the jungle and the soldiers of the Holy War are not relying upon any of the foreign forces. Having some Austrian and German officers following us who are infatuated by freedom and liberty does not mean that we're being assisted by the German army. We see the Ottomans as surpassing just like the Russian and English to our lands.
How do you explain your relationship with the Bolsheviks, Mr. Koochack Khan? Wasn't illegally arresting Captain Noel what the Bolsheviks had advised you to do? You've imprisoned a high-ranking man of the army of His Excellency the King of England for no reason. We even know that he's being treated in a barbaric way.
We've followed the rules of the government and treated this captain just like a prisoner of war.
Do you have any idea how many times this high-ranking officer of yours has taken our kindness and generosity for granted and tried to escape stocks?
As a matter of fact, we're the ones who have to complain about him, not manner-wise, but imprisoning him.
We have evidence and documentation which prove why your ranking officers come to Rasht. His mission is assassination. Assassinating Mirza, assassinating me. Would you like to see the order of assassination that was given to Captain Noel by the Royal Bank of Rasht?
If you think our behavior is barbaric, then how do you describe the behavior of the so-called civilized English towards Soliman Mirza, who's a man of freedom? Why do you send him into exile? Why do you arrest him?
Gentlemen, please. Now is not the time for these things. Let's get back to Russia.
Let's suppose that the board of the Islamic Committee allows you to enter Rasht. Will the forces of General Denstraville promise that no English military soldier will ever stop in Gilan? Will he promise that his forces will not take over the police stations on their way?
I'm asking you as a military commander, sir. Do you think it's wise for an army, after moving ahead into the lands of a foreign country, to break off its relations with the ones supporting them? Without doubt, we will take over some police stations on our way, but temporarily, and until the war's over.
When will war ever end in Iran?
You acted in a very inexperienced way today, Mirza. When you get excited, you forget who you're dealing with.
How come?
Don't you think it would have been better if they thought the Germans are helping us? Or we're getting weapons from the Ottomans? Now they're sure we're all alone.
I don't think the information they have about us is wrong. In my opinion, the gentlemen are trying to determine our intentions. They're trying to find out whether we're in for war or not.
The meeting's over. You can come in now.
Mr. Mirza Koochack Khan, if I may say this last thing. If you put your trust in the English government, and if you announce your severance of political relations with the Bolsheviks, if Captain Noel is immediately released, and if you permit our forces to enter Gilan, I have the authority to assure you the government of His Excellency the King of England is ready to officially recognize Mirza Koochack Khan's government and the movement of the men of the jungle. for the time being, in Gilan and then in Iran.
Mr. Colonel,
Yes?
the issues we have with our own men are exactly because of these political deals. Some of our vulgar men would do anything just to keep their positions. If only I could trust your policies, but they don't believe in anything. Your offer is somewhat in my and my movement's best interest. But the arts men of the jungle would never betray their own beliefs for someone to possess their government. Therefore, accepting your distinctive offer is not for me to decide. Tell your civilized commander that this man of the jungle says, establishing this kind of government under the influence of His Britannic Majesty's government is not an honour. It's a total disgrace. We will fight for freedom, Mr. Colonel, and we will fight against the people who've taken away our freedom, which in this case is your country.
Gentlemen, I am very sad that I will not be taking any good news for General Denstraville from this negotiation. For your own sake, it's best if you do not underestimate the power of a united army. Based on the current conditions of Caucasia, we are forced to leave Gilan as soon as possible, as we must assist our friends in their endeavors. And if all your police stations, from Manjil to Anzali, are not completely evacuated within 48 hours, then we'll have no choice but to aggressively bombard our path all the way down to the sea.
Gentlemen, I shall warn you that the youth of Iran are very deep sleepers. Be careful if you wake them up with the sound of your bombs.
Yes. Yes, it's definitely Captain Noel's signature. It's accurate. But the money he's transferred cannot be given to anyone.
Why not, Mr. Manager?
Why not? Well, it's obvious. because we know that Captain Noel's been captured by the men of the jungle. How are we supposed to know that they haven't forced him to sign these bills?
I swear to God, it wasn't by force. Who forced him? He signed the transfer bills by his own will.
I'm sorry to say this, sir, but no one would ever sign these transfer bills by his own will. Send my best to Mirza Koochack and tell him the English government doesn't give in to blackmailing.
Mirza? No, I swear to God it's not what you think it is. I swear on my son's life, Mirza doesn't even know about this bill. If he finds out, he'll hang us.
What you're saying might be true, but the manager's the only person who can make this decision. Captain Noel is a creditable man in this bank, but it's in the manager's hand. The manager won't give 1,000 tomans to anyone, and that is in cash, all at once, to a stranger.
Don't you think the person that signed this bank bill and given it to me trusts
Wait a
me?
minute. Maybe there's something we can do.
Please, please do so.
Well, you'd better take this man away. Keep him occupied. I must send this information as soon as possible. Take him to the vault. Go ahead, please.
Oh, dear God, please don't disgrace me in front of the people.
By the way, see if you can make him an emblem agent.
Enayat.
Huh?
Your father's not in the bank.
Yes, he is. I saw him from the window. He was going somewhere with the manager.
Why are you lying?
Okay, you'll see for yourself now.
Mr. Mirza will be thrilled when we take all that money to him.
We'll buy cannons this time. Maxim cannons.
Good morning, Your Excellency. We just received some important information. Yes. It's regarding the jungle men and the kind of weapons it seems that they now possess.
Hand over Captain Noel to us, and take 1,000 tomans in cash for yourself in return. What do you say?
An army of 2,000 disciplined men are stationed in Lahijan. Dr. Heshmat is their commander. Captain Noel has sent us the names of the German men who are helping them. Their names are Lieutenant Waldrich, Lieutenant Estracht, and Major von Paschan. How much money's in this bank?
As much as you want. They print money in here.
Is it the Royal Bank?
It's the Royal Bank of Iran. Look, it's written over there.
You mean it all belongs to the king?
No, man, the name's the King's Bank. Just like Shah Kalam. Does that mean Shah Kalam belongs to the king? Dad?
Did you get it, Majdi?
What's wrong? What happened?
What a great treasure.
As far as we're informed, they only have 3 heavy machine guns.
They're finally back.
After Colonel Bishrikov returned to Kazvin empty-handed from the negotiations with Mirza Koochack Khan, Bishrikov's army of over 10,000 troops moved from Kazvin towards the strait near Manjul and set up camp in the fields of Manjul. The jungle men and their army of about 3,000 troops had taken shelter inside the Manjul Strait and around the bridge. The only military superiority they possessed was the passage which led to the Manjul Bridge, which also passed by the strait and was in complete control of the men of the jungle. This was the reason that Bishrikov held back from starting war. Therefore, he gave a 48-hour evacuation ultimatum to the commander of the men of the jungle military forces.
Mr. Reza, where's Major Pashan?
I don't know. Why are you asking?
I have a letter for him from Mirza.
Maybe he's at the police station.
Hey.
We sent 2 groups of reconnaissance. One of them was sent yesterday afternoon, and the other was sent this morning. Both groups have informed us that the enemies possess revolving artillery designed for the mountains. The cannons are possibly Bofors models. Other than the artillery, they have a lot of 60 bullet types and some armored cars.
How many men are there altogether?
Most of the tents are set up inside the grove next to the mountain, and it's impossible to count the men in them. But one thing's for sure, and that is the number of the enemy forces is more than 50,000 troops. It seems that they're pretty confident about their power. We sent Mashmad Ali Shah to propose direct negotiations with the general early morning, but he still hasn't come back.
So apparently the conditions are much more complicated than I thought they are.
Yes, they sure are.
It doesn't seem like the forces of this General Bishrikov are scattered. Anyhow, if the Russians accept our offer for negotiations, in negotiating with them, you have my complete authority.
Will we go to war?
Try to buy as much time as you can.
But maybe we'll be forced to.
Going to war is not at all to our advantage, I mean, in this condition.
Mr. Mirza, I will do my best to prevent war from starting from our side. Without even seeing these gunmen, I can tell controlling them is going to be hard work. Especially the Kurdish gunmen. It is going to be fine. The thing that's bothering me is that what'll we do if the Russians start the war?
In that case, we'll have to stand against them.
All our forces in this area, from Manjil to Rudbar, won't even come up to 2,000 soldiers. And even if Dr. Heshmat gets here with his 2,000 soldiers in time,
we still won't have enough men in comparison to the Russians.
Anyway, the best location to withstand them is there. If the Russians are able to get their army over the bridge, then nothing can stop them. They'll get to Rasht in 2 or 3 days.
Do you have any news from Lahijan?
No, not yet.
What are Dr. Heshmat and Ismail doing in Lahijan?
Our telephone and telegraph connections with them have been cut off. We've sent a message to Lahijan to bring us news from them. Did you get my letter? Hello? Hello?
Major! Major! Can you hear my voice?
Oh my God, they're going to bombard us. Oh my God. What on earth is that?
It's a war airship.
No, it's not an airship. An airship can't move that fast.
Go into your trenches! Ceasefire! Stop shooting it! Stop shooting it!
Do not shoot it under any circumstances! Don't shoot! Ceasefire!
Stop shooting! Don't shoot! Hold your gun down!
Hello, Mr. Mirza. They just began. The first attack was by enemy
Airplane. We're waiting for the attack of the land forces.
Major, as soon as Mirza heard the explosion of a bomb. Over the telephone, he couldn't wait any longer, so he got his horse, and is on his way here with the pheasant supporter right now.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Stop shooting! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Stop shooting! What are you doing?
starting a war without even thinking. Don't you understand the meaning of fire?
They started shooting at us first.
Back. It's coming this way.
Sir?
Yes?
I think we should place dynamite under the bridge.
What for?
God forbid we might need to destroy the bridge.
Destroy the bridge?
Yes, sir.
Sir, must Ali Shah's come with a Russian messenger?
The Russians are ready for negotiation.
Then we shall negotiate. Mashti, let's get going. Syed Hassan, find Syed Hussein Khan, the chief of police, and then come with us.
God willing, it'll all be fine.
General Bishrahov?
I am Major Fun Pashan, the commander of the men of the jungle, and the representative of Mirza Koochack.
Come in, please. Major, come alone.
There's no need to shed blood. Mirza Koochack Khan's ready to offer a peaceful way for your forces to pass across the bridge.
If this is what he had in mind, he wouldn't have sent a German officer for negotiations as important as this. This is an insult to us.
Interesting. Isn't the general aware of the peace treaty between the Russian army and the German army? And we will help the Russian
We do not
soldiers.
approve of the current Russian government, nor the government itself, nor its treaties. I am here under the Tsar's order. And we will compromise with his command. Any unpleasant event that takes place will be your army's fault for blocking our way.
I, as the representative of the jungle men, or as a German soldier, have no intention of going to war with you. We have nothing to do with the Russian Civil War. And we will help the Russian soldiers to return. Your way and your soldiers' way is open. We have no intention of going to war with you.
I don't believe you. Because shooting at our airplane has a totally different meaning.
That shooting was accidental. We have orders to stop any armed English force from passing by. However, the way for anyone who wants to return to their homeland is open. This is the decree of the Islamic Union Committee.
They're all lies. Your troops have blocked our way under the excuse of stopping the English. The hungry Russian soldiers who have no commander have crossed over the bridge. The Bolsheviks, the anarchists. But when a regular soldier wants to pass over the bridge to save Russia, your friend, Koochack Khan, blocks the way. You would even give your own lives for the Bolsheviks.
There's no difference between the Red Russians or the White Russians for us. Your army can pass through Gilan in groups of 200 men with complete security.
What do you mean, disarmed?
No, armed.
I don't believe you.
I give you my word about this matter.
It's not enough, Major. I don't trust Koochack Khan. Please don't expect an old soldier to put the lives of his army in mortal peril.
I just told you about Koochack Khan's thoughts. He's repeatedly said he has nothing to do with the Russian Civil War, but he will not allow. I repeat, he will not allow the English to pass through the lands of Gilan.
I do not need the English. I have no idea about their plans. I am a soldier. I'm not a politician. You're a soldier as well. But Koochack Khan's a politician.
I tell you, Koochack Khan's a patriotic soldier too.
I want a military guarantee in Koochack Khan's handwriting and stamped.
We need time for this matter.
How much time?
24 hours.
Very well, then I'll wait.
Finally, they're back. Why are they standing in a line? What are they doing? Maybe they want to march. This is no time for marching.
They've announced an alert.
چقدر جنگل خوسی ملت وسیع خسته نبوسی می جان جانانا ترگم میرزا کوچک خانا خدا دانه که من نتانم خفتن از ترس دشمن می دیل آویزانا ترگم میرزا کوچک خانا چرا زودتر نایی تندر نایی تنها بنایی گیلان ویرانم ترگم میرزا کوچک خانم چقدر جنگل خوسی ملت وسیع خسته